I told them I was moving to Arizona 5 times. 5 separate occasions. 5 different conversations. 5 clear statements. The first time was at Easter dinner. March 23rd. I was passing the ham when I said, "So, I got a job offer in Phoenix. Software engineering position. Really good opportunity. I'm thinking about taking it." Mom was on her phone. Dad was watching baseball highlights on the TV mounted in the dining room. My sister Jessica was feeding her toddler mashed potatoes. "That's nice, honey," Mom said without looking up. I waited. Surely someone would ask a follow-up question. Where in Phoenix? When would I start? How much would they pay? Nothing. Dad cheered at something on the TV. Jessica wiped applesauce off her daughter's face. Mom scrolled. I might as well have said I was thinking about getting a haircut. That was it. No questions. No follow-up. Just, "That's nice, honey." And back to scrolling. I'm Ethan, by the way. 29. Software engineer. The middle child in a family where middle meant forgettable. And I don't mean that dramatically. I mean it literally. When I was 12, my family went to Disneyland. They made it halfway through the day before realizing I wasn't with them. I'd been sitting on a bench near Splash Mountain for 45 minutes. When they found me, Mom said, "Why didn't you keep up?" When I graduated high school, they showed up 20 minutes late. Missed my name being called. Took photos with Jessica instead, who'd graduated 3 years earlier but came for support. When I got my first apartment at 23, I invited them over for dinner. They canceled last minute. Jessica needed help moving a couch. I spent that night eating spaghetti alone, staring at the table set for 5. So when I said I was moving to a different state, I shouldn't have been surprised by the lack of reaction. But I was still disappointed. The second time I mentioned the move was 2 weeks later. Mom's birthday. May 5th. We were having cake when I brought it up again. "Hey, so I accepted that job in Phoenix. I'll be moving in June. Probably mid-month." Dad cut his cake. "Phoenix? Hot out there." "Yeah. But the pay's really good. And I'm ready for a change." "That's great, son." I waited again. Hoping for something. Anything. "How far is Phoenix?" I prompted. "Like flying distance?" "Oh, I don't know." "A couple of hours?" Dad said, mouth full of cake. "About 4 hours if you drive," I said. "But yeah, flying is shorter." He nodded, already looking past me toward Jessica, who was showing Mom something on her phone. End of conversation. He took another bite of cake and started talking to Jessica about her son's baseball team. I sat there, fork in hand, wondering if anyone had actually heard me. Or if I'd just become the human equivalent of elevator music. Present but irrelevant. The third time was at a family barbecue. Memorial Day weekend. I was helping Dad grill burgers when I said, "So I'm signing the lease in Phoenix this week. Moving trucks booked for June 15th. "Good for you," he said, flipping a burger. "Yeah. It's a 1-bedroom in Scottsdale. Near some great hiking trails." "Sounds nice." I tried once more. "I'll need to drive out there. Probably a 2-day trip. Leave early, stop in New Mexico. Be careful on those desert roads. Lots of speeders." That was it. No, "We'll miss you," or "That's a big move," or even, "Let us know if you need help packing." Just sounds nice. And a warning about speeders. Ka walked past, beer in hand. "Hey, can someone help me move my gaming setup upstairs later?" "I got you," Dad said immediately. I stood there, tongs in hand, feeling the weight of being invisible. The fourth time was more direct. A family group text. June 8th. Me, hey everyone. Final reminder, I'm moving to Phoenix next weekend. New address will be 2847 Desert View Lane, Scottsdale, Arizona 85251. Let me know if you need anything before I leave. I watched the group chat. Waited for responses. Jessica posted a photo of her son's art project 2 hours later. Mom reacted to it with a heart emoji. Kyle sent a meme about pizza. My message? Nothing. Not one response. Not even a thumbs up. It sat there, unread by most, ignored by all. I took a screenshot. Not sure why. Maybe I knew I'd need proof someday. The 5th time was the day before I left. June 14th. I stopped by the house to say goodbye. Mom was in the kitchen. Dad was in the garage. Kyle was upstairs gaming. I'm heading out tomorrow morning, I told Mom. Truck's all packed. She was making a grocery list. Oh, that's tomorrow? Have a safe trip, honey. Yeah. It's a long drive. Probably take 2 days. Make sure you drink water. I stood there, waiting. Hoping she'd look up. Hoping she'd ask where I'd be staying on the drive. Hoping she'd hug me. She added milk to her list. Okay. Well, I guess this is goodbye. Drive safe, honey. That was it. No hug. No. We'll miss you. No family gathering to send me off. Just make sure you drink water. I walked out to my truck. Dad was organizing tools in the garage. Leaving tomorrow, Dad? Yep. Good luck out there. Thanks. He went back to his tools. I sat in my truck for a full minute, staring at the house. The house I grew up in. The house I was leaving. And I realized, no one was going to stop me. No one was going to say they'd miss me. Because they wouldn't. I left the next morning at 6 a.m. Alone. Drove 16 hours to Arizona with nothing but a podcast playlist, and the growing realization that I could disappear and no one would notice. Turns out I was right. The first month in Phoenix was a blur of unpacking, learning a new job, and adjusting to the heat. I sent a few photos to the family group chat. My new apartment. A sunset over Camelback Mountain. A picture of me hiking. No responses. Not even a nice view, or a thumbs up emoji. I stopped trying after that. By month 3, I was settling in. Made a few friends at work. Started hiking every weekend. Joined a climbing gym. Found a favorite taco spot. My coworker Sarah asked me one day, "You talk to your family much?" "Not really." "They know you moved?" I told them. They didn't listen. She laughed, thinking I was joking. I wasn't. I didn't call home. Didn't text. Didn't reach out. And no one reached out to me. Not for my birthday in August. Not for Thanksgiving. Not for Christmas. Complete silence. It was like I'd never existed. And honestly, it was freeing. No guilt trips about missing events. No last-minute favors. No being the forgotten middle child at family dinners. Just me, my new life, and the desert sun. Month 6, I got a text from Jessica. "Jessica, hey, can you pick up Mom's prescription tomorrow? She's out of refills and the pharmacy closes early." I stared at the message. Read it 3 times. Me, I'm in Arizona. 3 dots appeared. Then stopped. Then appeared again. Jessica, what? Me, I moved to Arizona. 6 months ago. I told everyone multiple times. Jessica, oh. I thought you were joking. Me, why would I joke about that? Jessica, ick. Anyway, can someone else get it? Me, ask Kyle. She didn't respond. I put my phone down and laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was so perfectly on brand. 6 months. 6 entire months of living in a different state. And my sister thought I was joking. Month 9, nothing. No calls. No texts. No check-ins. I spent Thanksgiving with coworkers. Christmas with a friend's family. New Year's alone on a hiking trail watching the sunrise. It was peaceful. Lonely sometimes. But peaceful. I posted a photo on Instagram. Me at the Grand Canyon. Caption: Year-end adventures. Jessica liked it. Didn't comment. Mom didn't even see it. I wondered if they notice if I just stopped posting altogether. Stopped existing online. Stopped trying. Probably not. Month 12, I got the call. It was a Tuesday. March 9th. Exactly 1 year since I'd moved. Mom. Calling. Which was rare. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity won. Hello? Ethan, where are you? At home. Why? You missed Jessica's daughter's birthday party. Again. Again? Yes. You've missed every single family gathering for the past year. Every birthday, every holiday, every barbecue. We haven't seen you once. What's going on with you? I sat down on my couch. Took a breath. Mom, I moved to Arizona. Silence. What? I moved to Arizona. A year ago. I told you. Multiple times. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. I told you at Easter. At your birthday. At the Memorial Day barbecue. I sent a group text with my new address. I told you the day before I left. More silence. I don't remember that. I know. Because you weren't listening. Ethan, that's not fair. Isn't it? I told you 5 times that I was moving to a different state. And you didn't remember once. Well, you should have made it clearer. I laughed. Bitter. How much clearer could I be? I literally gave you my new address. You could have called. Or visited. Let us know you were serious. I did call. I did tell you. You just didn't care enough to remember. That's not true. Mom, I've been gone for a year. An entire year. And you didn't notice until I stopped showing up to family events. Not because you missed me. Because it was inconvenient. Ethan. I have to go. Wait. I hung up. Sat there, staring at my phone. 1 year. 1 full year of living in a different state. And they didn't notice until it affected them. That told me everything I needed to know. 10 minutes later, Jessica called. Did you seriously move to Arizona? Yes. Why didn't you tell anyone? I did. 5 times. No one listened. Well, I don't remember that. I know. Because you weren't paying attention. Ethan, that's not fair. We've been busy. You know how chaotic things are with the kids. It's been a year, Jess. You had time to post 50 pictures of your kids on Facebook. But you didn't have time to notice I moved to a different state. That's different. How? She didn't answer. I have to go. I said. Mom's really upset. Good. Maybe now she'll start paying attention. I hung up. And for the first time in a year, I felt something like vindication. Because I'd always wondered if my family would notice if I disappeared. Now I knew. They wouldn't. Not unless it inconvenienced them. The calls started immediately. Within an hour of hanging up on Jessica, Dad called. I let it ring. Watched his name flash on my screen 3 times before it went to voicemail. Ethan, it's Dad. Your mother is very upset. Call us back so we can talk about this like adults. Like adults. As if I was the one being childish. I deleted the voicemail. Kyle texted next. Kyle, bro, WTF. You moved to Arizona? Me, yep. Kyle, when? Me, a year ago. Kyle, why didn't you say anything? Me, I did. Multiple times. You were playing Fortnite. Kyle, oh. That was it. Just. Oh. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just. Oh. Like I'd mentioned, I got a haircut, not that I'd relocated to a different state. That night, Mom called again. I almost didn't answer. But I figured I might as well get it over with. Hello? Ethan, I've been thinking about our conversation earlier. Okay. And I think you're being very unfair. I closed my eyes. How am I being unfair? You're acting like we didn't care that you moved. But we did. We just didn't realize you'd actually gone through with it. Because you didn't listen. We were listening. You just weren't clear. Mom, I gave you my new address. In a text message. How much clearer could I be? Well, we get a lot of messages. We can't be expected to remember every single one. It wasn't just one message. It was 5 separate conversations. Over 3 months. I don't remember 5 conversations. I know. That's the problem. Silence. Then, your sister is very hurt that you didn't tell her. I did tell her. She doesn't remember. That's not my fault. Ethan, why are you being so difficult about this? I laughed. Actually laughed. I'm being difficult? I moved to a different state and no one noticed for a year. But I'm the difficult one? You could have made more of an effort to stay in touch. I sent photos. I texted. I posted on social media. You ignored all of it. We didn't ignore it. Mom, you didn't even wish me happy birthday. Silence. When was your birthday? August 17th. 4 months after I moved. More silence. Well, we must have texted you. You didn't. Are you sure? Yes, Mom. I'm sure. She exhaled, frustrated. Okay, so we forgot one birthday. That doesn't mean we don't care about you. It wasn't one birthday. It was every birthday. And every Christmas. And every holiday. For years. That's not true. Mom, when was the last time you called me just to see how I was doing? She didn't answer. Exactly. I'm a busy person, Ethan. I have a lot going on. So do I. But I still managed to tell you 5 times that I was moving. Why are you being so hostile? I'm not being hostile. I'm being honest. Well, it feels hostile. I took a breath. Tried to stay calm. Mom, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm just trying to make you see that I've been invisible to this family for a long time. And moving to Arizona didn't change that. It just made it obvious. You're not invisible. Then why didn't you notice I was gone? She didn't have an answer for that. I have to go, I said. Ethan, wait. I hung up. Sat there on my couch, staring at the wall. Part of me felt guilty. Part of me felt angry. Part of me just felt tired. But mostly, I felt relieved. Because I'd finally said what I'd been thinking for years. And it felt good. The next morning, I woke up to a long text from Jessica. Jessica, I don't appreciate you making Mom cry. She's really upset, and it's because you're being dramatic about this whole thing. Yes, we didn't realize you moved. But that's not a crime. We have busy lives. Kids, jobs, responsibilities. We can't keep track of everything. You're acting like we abandoned you when really you just left without saying goodbye. That's on you, not us. If you wanted us to make a big deal about it, you should have made a bigger deal about it yourself. Don't blame us for your lack of communication. I read it 3 times. Then I replied. I told you 5 times. I gave you my address. I sent photos. I texted. I called. I did everything except show up at your house with a megaphone. But sure, it's my lack of communication. Jessica, you're being ridiculous. And you're being defensive because you know I'm right. Jessica, whatever, Ethan. Enjoy Arizona. Hope it's worth losing your family over. I didn't lose my family. They just never noticed I was part of it in the first place. She didn't respond. I blocked her number. Not out of anger. Out of self-preservation. Because I knew if I didn't, she'd keep texting. Keep guilt-tripping. Keep making me feel like I was the problem. And I was done being the problem. 2 days later, Dad called. This time I answered. Hey, Dad. Ethan. We need to talk. Okay. Your mother is very hurt. She's been crying for 2 days. I'm sorry she's upset. Are you? Because it doesn't seem like it. I'm sorry she's upset. I'm not sorry for telling the truth. He sighed. Look, I get it. You feel like we didn't pay enough attention to your move. But you have to understand, we've had a lot going on. Jessica's kids, Kyle's job search, your mother's book club. Life gets busy. I know life gets busy. But I told you 5 times, Dad. 5. How many times does someone need to tell you they're moving to a different state before you remember? It's not about remembering. It's about priorities. That landed like a punch. What? I said what I said. We have priorities. And sometimes, certain things take precedence. So I'm not a priority. That's not what I said. That's exactly what you said. Ethan, don't twist my words. I'm not twisting anything. You just admitted that I'm not a priority in this family. That's not. Look, you're taking this the wrong way. How should I take it? Silence. Dad? I don't know what you want me to say, Ethan. I want you to say you're sorry. I want you to admit that you should have paid more attention. I want you to acknowledge that I told you I was moving and you didn't care enough to remember. That's not fair. Yes, it is. He exhaled. Heavy. Frustrated. Fine. I'm sorry. I should have paid more attention. Is that what you want to hear? Only if you mean it. I do mean it. Do you? Yes, Ethan. I'm sorry. We should have been better. We should have listened. We should have made you feel like you mattered. I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, feeling something crack inside me. Thank you, I said quietly. So can we move past this now? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I mean, an apology is a start. But it doesn't fix years of being ignored. What do you want from us? I want you to actually care. Not just say you care. Actually show it. How? By checking in. By asking how I'm doing. By remembering important things I tell you. By treating me like I'm part of the family instead of an afterthought. We can do that. Can you? Yes. Okay. We'll see. We hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone. It was the most honest conversation I'd ever had with my dad. And I had no idea if anything would actually change. A week later, Mom sent a friend request on Facebook. I stared at it for a full day before accepting. She immediately liked 3 of my old photos. All from Arizona. None of them she'd seen before. She commented on one. Beautiful view. Glad you're doing well. I didn't respond. 2 weeks after that, Jessica unblocked me and sent a text. Jessica, hey. I'm sorry for what I said. I was defensive, and I shouldn't have been. You were right. We should have noticed. I should have noticed. I'm sorry. Me, thank you? Jessica, are we okay? Me, I don't know yet. But we can work on it. Jessica, fair. It wasn't much. But it was something. A month after the big confrontation, Kyle called. Hey, man. Just wanted to say sorry. For what? For not noticing you moved. And for, like, everything else. Everything else? Yeah. I know I've been kind of a shitty brother. Always asking for stuff, never checking in. I'm working on it. Are you really? Or are you just saying that because Mom told you to? Both, honestly. But I do mean it. I want to be better. Okay. We'll see. That's fair. We talked for another 10 minutes. About nothing important. Just small talk. But it was the longest conversation we'd had in years. 3 months after I told my family I lived in Arizona, things were different. Not fixed. But different. Mom texts me once a week. Usually just, how are you, or thinking of you. Small things. But consistent. Dad called every other Sunday. We talked about work, the weather, and hiking. Surface level stuff. But he called. Jessica sent photos of her kids. Asked about my life. Actually listened when I responded. Kyle sent memes. Stupid random memes. But it was his way of reaching out. I didn't forgive them. Not yet. But I was open to trying. Because maybe, just maybe, they were finally starting to see me. And that was enough. For now. 6 months after the confrontation, Mom asked if she could visit. The text came on a Thursday afternoon. Mom, I'd really like to see where you live. Would it be okay if Dad and I came to visit? We could stay at a hotel. Just a weekend. I stared at the message for 20 minutes. Part of me wanted to say no. To keep the distance. To protect the peace I'd built. But another part, the part that had spent years wanting them to care, wanted to say yes. Me, when were you thinking? Mom, next month? The first weekend? Me, okay. Let me know the dates and I'll make sure I'm free. Mom, thank you, honey. This means a lot. I set my phone down and took a breath. They were coming to Arizona. To see my life. To see the place I'd been living for a year and a half that they'd never asked about. Better late than never, I guess. They arrived on a Friday evening in October. I picked them up from the airport. Mom hugged me tight. Dad shook my hand, then pulled me into an awkward side hug. You look good, Mom said. Healthy. Thanks. Arizona agrees with me. We drove to their hotel in Scottsdale. Mom asked about the desert. Dad commented on the heat. Small talk. Safe talk. I dropped them off and told them I'd pick them up for dinner at 7. Can we see your apartment first? Mom asked. Tomorrow. Tonight, let's just eat. Okay. Dinner was strange. We went to a Mexican place I liked. Mom ordered a margarita. Dad got a beer. I'm stuck with water. So, Dad said, cutting into his burrito. How's work? Good. Really good, actually. I got promoted last month. Senior developer. That's great, son. Congratulations. Thanks. Mom smiled. We're so proud of you. I nodded. Didn't know what to say to that. Do you have friends out here? She asked. Yeah. A few from work. Some people I met hiking. That's good. We were worried you'd be lonely. I'm not lonely. I'm actually happier here than I was back home. That landed heavy. Mom looked down at her plate. Dad took a long drink of beer. We're glad you're happy, Dad said finally. Are you? He looked at me. Yes. We are. Even though I had to move to a different state to feel like I mattered? Mom's eyes watered. Ethan. I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm just being honest. We know we messed up, she said quietly. We know we didn't pay enough attention. We're trying to do better. I know. And I appreciate it. But it's going to take time. We understand. We finished dinner. Talked about safer things. Jessica's kids. Kyle's new job is at a marketing firm. Mom's book club. It was fine. Not great. But fine. The next morning, I took them to my apartment. It was small. 1 bedroom. Clean. Minimal furniture. But it was mine. Mom walked through slowly. Looked at the photos on my wall. The books on my shelf. The hiking gear in the corner. It's nice, honey. Really nice. Thanks. Dad stood by the window. Good view. Yeah. I can see the mountains from here. Mom sat on my couch. Do you have everything you need? Yeah. I'm good. Because if you need anything. Mom, I'm good. I promise. She nodded. Smiled. But I could see she was trying not to cry. What? I asked. I miss so much. A whole year of your life. And I'll never get that back. I sat down next to her. No. You won't. I'm sorry, Ethan. I'm so sorry. I know. She wiped her eyes. Can you forgive us? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I'm working on it. But I'm not there yet. That's fair. Dad cleared his throat. Want to show us around the city? Yeah. Let's go. We spent the day hiking Camelback Mountain, eating lunch in Old Town Scottsdale, and driving through the desert. It was the most time I'd spent with my parents in years. And it wasn't terrible. We didn't talk about the past much. Just focused on the present. The views. The food. The heat. At one point, Dad said, I can see why you like it here. Yeah? Yeah. It's peaceful. Feels like you can breathe. That's exactly why I moved. He nodded. Didn't say anything else. But I could tell he got it. That night, we had dinner at my favorite taco spot. Mom asked about my hiking trips. Dad asked about work projects. They actually listened when I answered. It felt different. Like they were trying. Really trying. As we were leaving, Mom hugged me again. Thank you for letting us visit. Of course. Can we come back? Maybe in a few months? I hesitated. Then nodded. Yeah. We can make that work. She smiled. Relief washed over her face. They flew home the next morning. I drove them to the airport. Mom cried a little when we said goodbye. Dad hugged me longer than usual. We love you, son. I love you too, Dad. And I meant it. Even after everything. Even after the years of being forgotten. Even after the pain. I still loved them. I just didn't trust them yet. A week later, I got a package in the mail. From Mom. A framed photo of us at Camelback Mountain. All three of us smiling, desert in the background. There was a note. Thank you for the best weekend we've had in years. We're so proud of the life you've built. Love, Mom and Dad. I put the photo on my shelf. Next to the pictures of my friends. My hiking trips. My new life. It didn't erase the past. But it was a step forward. 3 months later, Christmas came around. Mom called. We're doing Christmas at the house. Will you come? I don't know, Mom. Please, Ethan. It wouldn't be the same without you. You had Christmas without me last year. You didn't even notice I wasn't there. I know. And that was wrong. But we're asking now. Please. I thought about it. I'll think about it. That's all I'm asking. 2 weeks later, I booked a flight. Not because I'd forgiven everything, but because I was willing to try. Christmas morning, I walked into my parents' house for the first time in almost 2 years. Jessica was there with her kids. Kyle was there with his new girlfriend. Mom was making breakfast. Dad was setting up the tree. When I walked in, everything stopped. Jessica ran over and hugged me. You came. Yeah. I came. Kyle high-fived me. Good to see you, man. Mom came out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. She saw me and froze. Then she started crying. Hi, Mom. She walked over and hugged me. Tight. Like she was afraid I'd disappear again. I'm so glad you're here. Me too. Dad came over. Shook my hand. Then pulled me into a real hug. Not a side hug. A real one. Welcome home, son. Home. It was strange hearing that word. Because Arizona felt like home now. But this felt like family. And maybe that was enough. We spent Christmas Day together. Opening presents. Eating too much food. Watching movies. Jessica showed me videos of her kids. Kyle talked about his job. Mom asked about Arizona. Dad asked about hiking. They asked questions. They listened to the answers. They treated me like I was actually there. Like I mattered. At one point, Mom pulled me aside. Thank you for coming. Thanks for inviting me. I mean it, Ethan. Having you here, it feels right. It feels like we're a family again. We're working on it. I know. And I'm grateful you're giving us the chance. I nodded. I'm trying, Mom. I really am. I know, honey. And that's all I can ask for. That night, before I flew back to Arizona, Dad walked me to my rental car. You heading out early tomorrow? Yeah. Flight's at 9. He nodded. Hands in his pockets. Listen, I know things have been complicated. But I want you to know something. What's that? I'm proud of you. For standing up for yourself. For building a life on your own. For being brave enough to leave when you needed to. I looked at him. Really? Really. A lot of people wouldn't have done that. They would have stayed and been miserable. But you left. You chose yourself. That takes guts. Thanks, Dad. I mean it. And I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. We should have. Yeah. You should have. He smiled. Sad but genuine. We'll do better. I promise. I hope so. We hugged. And for the first time in years, it didn't feel forced. It felt real. I flew back to Arizona the next morning. As the plane took off, I looked out the window at the city below. The place I grew up. The place I'd left. And I realized something. I didn't need them to fix everything. I didn't need a perfect apology or a tearful reunion. I just needed them to try. And they were trying. That was enough. For now, that was enough. 2 years after I moved to Arizona, my life looked completely different. I'd been promoted twice. Made senior lead developer. My team respected me. My boss valued my input. I had a voice that people actually listened to. I bought a house. Small. 2 bedrooms. A yard with a mountain view. The first place I'd ever owned. I sent a photo to the family group chat. Mom, congratulations, honey. So proud of you. Jessica, Beautiful house. When can we visit? Kyle, sick place, bro, dad, well done, son. 4 responses. Within an hour. All positive. It was such a small thing. But it meant everything. That spring, Mom started calling every Sunday. Not to ask for anything. Not to guilt me about missing events. Just to talk. How was your week? Good. We launched a new feature at work. Went hiking on Saturday. Where'd you hike? Superstition Mountains. Really beautiful trail. Send me photos next time. I'd love to see. And I did. I sent photos. And she responded. Every time. It became routine. Sunday morning coffee. Mom's call. 20 minutes of actual conversation. Dad started texting me articles. About hiking. About Arizona. About tech. Nothing deep. Just. Thought you'd find this interesting. And I did find them interesting. It was his way of saying, I'm thinking about you. And it worked. Jessica invited me to her daughter's birthday party. Jessica, I know it's far. But if you can make it, we'd love to have you. And if you can't, totally understand. No guilt. No pressure. Just an invitation. Me, I'll try to make it work. I booked a flight. Flew back for the weekend. When I showed up at the party, Jessica hugged me like I was a soldier coming home from war. You came. Of course I came. You invited me. I know. But I didn't expect. I'm just really glad you're here. Her kids ran up to me. Uncle Ethan! They barely knew me. But they were excited anyway. I spent the afternoon playing games with them. Eating cake. Taking photos. At one point, Jessica pulled me aside. Thank you for coming. I know it's not easy. It's getting easier. Good. Because we missed you. I missed you. I missed you too. And I meant it. Kyle came to visit me in Arizona that summer. Just him. No parents. No girlfriend. Just my brother. I need a break. He said when he called. Can I crash with you for a week? Yeah. Of course. He flew out. I picked him up from the airport. We hiked. We ate. We sat on my back porch drinking beer and watching the sunset. On the third night, he said something that surprised me. I'm sorry I was such a shitty brother. You already apologized. I know. But I don't think I really got it until now. Coming out here. Seeing your life. Realizing you built all of this without us. Without me. You were dealing with your own stuff. That's not an excuse. I should have paid attention. I should have noticed when you left. I should have. I don't know. Been better. I looked at him. You're being better now. Am I? Yeah. You flew out here. You're sitting on my porch. You're having this conversation. That's better. He nodded. Took a sip of beer. I like it here. I get why you stayed. It's peaceful. It's more than that. It's like, you can breathe here. You know? Yeah. I know. We sat in silence for a while. Comfortable silence. Can I come back? He asked. Not to move or anything. Just to visit. Like regularly? Anytime you want. Cool. That fall, Mom and Dad came back to visit. This time, they stayed at my house. In my guest room. Mom cooked breakfast. Dad helped me fix a leaky faucet. We went to a Suns game. Explored Sedona. Sat on the porch and talked. Real conversations. About life. About work. About everything. At one point Dad said, You know, I think leaving was the best thing you ever did. Really? Yeah. You needed space. We needed a wake-up call. Everybody won. Doesn't feel like winning sometimes. No. But you're happy. And we're better. That's a win in my book. Mom nodded. He's right. We're better parents now. Better people. Because you forced us to see what we were doing wrong. I didn't mean to force anything. I just left. And that was enough. She said. Sometimes people need to lose something before they realize what it's worth. I looked at her. And what am I worth? Everything, she said without hesitation. You're worth everything. I felt something crack inside me. Something I'd been holding on to for years. Forgiveness, maybe? Or just letting go. Thank you, I said quietly. No. Thank you? For giving us another chance. 3 years after I moved to Arizona, I got a promotion that required relocation. To Seattle. I called Mom first. Hey, Mom. Hi, honey. How are you? Good. I have news. Good news? I think so. I got offered a VP position. But it's in Seattle. Seattle? Wow. That's amazing, honey. Congratulations. Thanks. I'm thinking about taking it. You should. That's a huge opportunity. You're not upset? Upset? Why would I be upset? Because I just got settled in Arizona. And now I'm leaving again. She laughed. Ethan, you're an adult. You go where your career takes you. We'll visit. You'll visit? It'll be fine. Really? Really. We're proud of you. No matter where you are. I smiled. Thanks, Mom. When do you leave? 2 months. Okay. We'll come out before you go. One last Arizona trip. I'd like that. They came. We hiked. We ate. We said goodbye. This time, it was different. There were hugs. There were tears. There were promises to stay in touch. Call me when you get there, Mom said. I will. And send photos of your new place. I will. Dad handed me an envelope. Open it later. I did. On the plane to Seattle. Inside was a card. And a check for $5,000. The card said, for your new adventure. We're proud of you. Love, Mom and Dad. I stared at it for a long time. Not because of the money. But because it was the first time they'd ever supported one of my moves. Not with words. With action. 6 months into Seattle, I got a text from Jessica. Jessica, the family group chat is planning a reunion. Summer. Arizona. Your old house is the meeting spot. Would you come? Me, my old house? Jessica, the family wants to rent it for a week. See where you lived. Hike the trails you loved. Experience what you experienced. Me, that's actually really nice. Jessica, so you'll come? Me, yeah? I'll come. That summer, we all met in Arizona. Mom, Dad, Jessica and her family, Kyle and his now fiancé. All of us. In the place I'd run away to. We hiked Camelback. We ate at my favorite taco spot. We watched the sunset from my old porch. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was actually part of the family. Not an afterthought. Not invisible. Just there. Present. Noticed. Kyle raised his beer. To Ethan. For moving to Arizona. For forcing us to get our shit together. And for not giving up on us. Everyone raised their glasses. To Ethan. I smiled. Raised mine too. To second chances. Later that night, I sat on the porch with Mom. This place is special, she said. I get why you loved it here. It saved me. No. You saved yourself? This place just gave you the space to do it. I nodded. Maybe. I'm sorry we didn't see you before. When you were right in front of us. I know. Do you forgive us? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Yeah. I do. She started crying. Thank you? But Mom? Yeah? If you ever stop seeing me again, I'm moving to Alaska. She laughed through tears. Deal. 5 years after I moved to Arizona, I stood in my Seattle apartment and looked at the photos on my wall. Arizona sunsets. Family dinners. Hiking trips. Group photos. My phone rang. Sunday morning? Right on time. Hey, Mom. Hi, honey. How was your week? Good. Really good. We talked for 30 minutes. About work. About life. About nothing important. And when we hung up, I smiled. Because I'd spent years being invisible. But now I was seen. And that made all the difference.